Honorable colleagues, please take your seats. Please take your seats. What's happening? What's happening? Honorable colleagues, please let's continue with today's sitting. I have a letter here from Honorable Olaifa Jimo Aremu. Please take your seats. Honorables, please take your seats. Letter from Honorable Olaifa Jimo Aremu. Notice of my movement into the All Progressive Congress from Africa Democratic Congress. Honorable Speaker, I wish to formally notify your esteemed office that after due consultation and robust engagement within and outside the rank and file of necessary stakeholders in my constituency, I am most convinced that the time is ripe and necessary for me and my team to change our political platform. Mr. Speaker, you will recall that I got into the House of Representatives on the platform of the African Democratic Congress, ADC, in 2019. But as you are reading this letter, the party has since been enmeshed in seemingly intractable crises that have defied all entities. Several attempts by me and major stakeholders from Ogun State and several other people of good conscience have proved abortive. He goes on to say, besides the ravaging turmoil being experienced in the party and the urgent need to look for a safe house, I have had plenty of engagements and having carefully understudied other political parties and narrowing them down to two major political parties, the PDP and the APC, my people and I concluded that so far, the APC should be our haven, given several reasons that are not unknown to everyone who is critical-minded enough to see tomorrow from yesterday. So I am here, birthing into the APC formally today at the plenary of the Federal House of Representatives. It is noteworthy to appreciate the relentless efforts of the trio of the Speaker of House of Representatives, Right Honorable Femi Gbajabiamila, our dear Governor of Ogun State, His Excellency Prince Dakbo Abiodun MFR, and the Senate Committee Chairman on Finance, Senator Adiola Olamileko Yayi, because they did not only see this tomorrow early enough, but they also kept on ringing it to my ears. My state governor has convinced me through his enviable handling of the affairs of the party and the state. It is therefore only wise that as a foremost unionist that I was while in active service, I should pitch my tent with a leader whose lofty aims and mission tally with mine. I would rather join the APC that has the capacity to help my people of Egbado North realize their full potential now and always. It is my hope that with my movement to a greater, better, and more robust political platform, there will be endless possibilities and opportunities ahead for my constituents that I am most passionate about. I thank you for your anticipated and kind consideration. Sincerely yours, Honorable Olaifa Jimo Aremu. Honorable Jimo, where are you? Stand and be counted. There is no order, eh? I hear somebody shouting point of order. Who might that person be? Who might that person be? Okay, it appears to be somebody from the opposition. Honorable Toby, what's your point of order? Very quickly, the day is far gone. What's your point of order?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues. My name is Topi Ogechukwu, and I represent an area of Goji River Federal Constituency from Enugu State. Mr. Speaker, my point of order is essentially relying on the Constitution regarding the qualification upon which a member will defect to another political party. But more importantly, is the fact of the contradictory nature of our colleague's letter to the House. He said that there is crisis in ADC, and at the same time, he was telling us about the eloquence of his governor in convincing him to shift to the party. Mr. Speaker, is very apparent, very clear, that the man, there is no crisis, and I'm sure you are not aware of any crisis in ADC. And when there is no crisis,
Honorable Toby,
the law
Honorable Toby, Honorable Toby, I am not aware. Honorable Toby,
to overrule me.
Hold on. Hold on. You said I'm aware of something. I'm not aware because I'm not a member of the party. Now I'm going to ask you a question. The same question I asked Honorable Osai the other day. Who's the chairman of ADC? Who?
Well, Mr. Speaker,
Who is the chairman of ADC? Since you know so much about the party and whether they have crisis or not, you must know who the chairman is.
Have you come to an assessment that there is crisis? If you don't know the chairman,
you don't even know the chairman.
It should be subject to scrutiny.
There is a terminology I used the last time, and it's a legal terminology which you know. It is called meddlesome interloper, which appears to be what you're doing right now in another man's party. You are ruled out of order.
We know what you will do.
It's your tradition.
All right, so we'll move on.
Exactly.
Unfortunately, we lost our member, Chairman Customs, Honorable Killer. So to take over as chairman will be Honorable Leke Abejide, and deputy will be Honorable Sani Kiri from Jigawa. Any petitions? No petitions for today.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues. My name is Shaba Ibrahim. I represent Lokoja Kogi Federal Constituency. Your Excellency, I'm from Kogi State. I have a petition from Igahachi Development Association in Lokoja against the authorities of the Federal University Lokoja over non-compliance to corporate social responsibility and the refusal of the institution to recognize the Gaiki as a host community. With your kind permission, I seek your leave to have this petition laid before the House.
Honorable Shaba, please go ahead and lay your petition.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Any other petition? Linda.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, honorable members. I'm Linda Chuba Igbeazu, member representing Onisha North and South Federal Constituency. I'm from Anambra. I have a petition from one of my constituents, Honorable Nzukwe Owa Ezuoke. The petition is against the Economic and Financial Crime Commission on their refusal to conclude investigation on the petition against the Anambra State Ministry of Environment, Utu Microfinance Bank Limited, and Cornelius Agina, who allegedly conspired to divert the sum of 31.8 million naira meant for the contract executed by my client. Mr. Speaker, with your permission, may I lay the petition on the table?
Yeah, please go ahead. Any other petition? Your microphone. Your mic. Oh, that's okay.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable colleagues, Mr. Speaker, I'm from Plateau State. Dr. Simon Marcon is my name, and I represent the good people of Barkeladi and Rio. Mr. Speaker, here with me is a petition from two groups from my constituency. The first group is Emancipation Center for Crisis Victims in Nigeria, and from the umbrella body of the Birom Education and Cultural Organization, is a petition against the exclusion of customary landowners who are now internally displaced persons and the legitimation of forceful occupation, seizure of homes and lands in Barkinladi and Riom constituency. Mr. Speaker, with your kind permission, I wish to lay the petition before the Honorable House.
Yes, please go ahead. That's it for petitions? Oh, yes. We did it right.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable colleagues, my name is Honorable Haruna Issa Dederi. I represent RIRO Federal Constituency, Mr. Speaker, from Kano State. So I have three petitions to present. Two are in respect of unlawful dismissal from employment, and the other is against the Chief of Naval Staff for unauthorized seizure and use of property belonging to Mr. Mena Jazz. All petitions have been duly signed. I seek your leave, Mr. Speaker, to lay the petition.
Yes, you may lay your report.
Thank you.
No more petitions. All petitions referred to Committee on Public Petitions. Honorable Ben Ibakwa here. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I am Honorable Ben Roland Ibakwa. I represent Ethiopia East, Ethiopia West, and by the special grace of God from Delta State. Mr. Speaker, I come under 8 rule 4 of the House rule to enable me bring a matter of urgent public importance on the need to commence operation of the Warri Refinery and Petrochemical Company This is quite urgent because petroleum issues is a burning issue in Nigeria, and opening and commencement of these plants will reduce price of petroleum and enhance local production and satisfaction. I beg to move that all our relevant rules be suspended to enable me bring it up. I beg to move.
Any second. And was I?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, distinguished honorable colleagues. I remain Honorable Osai Nicholas Osai. I represent local Okwani Federal Constituency of Delta State. I'm an Okwani man. I rise to second the motion. Ably move by Honorable Roland Ibakwa. I still second.
Honorable Ben.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The House knows.
But this is the same motion.
Yes. The same one.
Yes. Honorable Ben,
Yes, sir.
it has just been drawn to my attention that this is already on the other paper,
It is, sir.
which I remember I told you, but yes, I got confused about whether it was urgent or public. So we just wait till it gets to that item, we get that item on the other paper.
All right, sir.
Thanks.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Drop. So we're going to move on to the first order of the day. Is consolidation of 3 bills. Honorable members may wish to note that the bills are on the same subject matter. I now invite the Chairman, Committee on Rules and Business, to move that the bills be consolidated. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues. I am Abubakar Hassan Fulata. I represent Beniwa, Krika, Samaguri Federal Constituency, Mr. Speaker, and I'm from Jigawa State. Mr. Speaker, I move to consolidate the following 3 bills as follows. A bill for an act to amend the Immigration Act, Chapter 11, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria, 2004, to provide for payment of all monies received by the service into the Federation account in accordance with Section 162 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, as amended, and for related matters, HB 201. B. A bill for an act to amend the Immigration Act, Chapter 11, Laws of the Federation, 2004, to establish the Nigerian Immigration Patrol Border Agent as a specialized directorate in the Nigerian Immigration Service to patrol, maintain surveillance, conduct borderline watch, and prevent persons from entering or leaving Nigeria without permission, and for related matters, HB 774. C. A bill for an act to amend the Immigration Act, Chapter 11, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria, 2004, to provide for the deployment of border technology to facilitate the prevention of illegal migrants through Nigeria's porous border, and thereby enhancing border security, and for related matters, HB 1156. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Honorable Blessing, please second.
Good afternoon, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues. My name is Blessing Onyeche Onu, and I rise to second the motion as presented by the Chairman, Business and Rules. I so second.
Those in favor, please say aye. Those against, please say no. Ayes have it. Chairman, Rules on Business, please schedule for a date for the commencement of debate. Second order of the day is consolidation of two bills. Honorable members may wish to know that the bills are on the same subject matter, and I invite the Chairman, Committee on Rules on Business, to move that the bills be consolidated.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues. I am Abubakar Hassan Fulata. I represent Berniwa, Krika Sama, Guri Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Jigawa State. Mr. Speaker, I move to consolidate two bills as follows. A bill for an act to amend the Energy Commission of Nigeria Act, Chapter E10, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria, 2004, to make it compulsory for federal government through the Commission to harness, explore, and utilize other sources of energy other than hydro and gas energy sources in Nigeria, and for related matters, HB 243. B. A bill for an act to amend the Energy Commission of Nigeria Act, Chapter E10, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria, 2004, and for related matters, HB 446. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Honorable Kauje, can you second, please? Second.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My name is Honorable Bello Kaoje, member representing Bagudo Suru Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I rise to second the motion moved by my colleagues. I so second.
Those in support, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Ayes have it. Please schedule for Chairman for debate. Third order of the day is commencement of debate on the general principle of a bill for an act to provide a mechanism for enforcing certain provisions of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, as amended, Universal Declaration of Human Rights, International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women, African Charter on Human and People's Rights, the Protocol to the African Charter on Human and People's Rights, on the rights of women in Africa, and for related matters, standing in the name of Honorable Seidu Musa Abdullahi. Honorable members will recall that the bill was read the first time on Wednesday, 10th February 2021, and now invite Honorable Abdullahi to move that the bill be read a second time.
Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, my name is Honorable Said Musa Abdullahi. I represent the people of Bida, Bako, Kacha Federal Constituency. I am from Niger State. Mr. Speaker, I rise to move that the bill for an act to provide a mechanism for enforcing certain provisions of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, as amended, be read the second time. Mr. Speaker, I so move.
Shatima.
Paul Muhammad, member representing Borgu Agwara, Federal Constituency. I'm from Niger State. I rise to second bill aptly raised by my colleague, Honorable Saidu SME. I so second. Thank you.
SMA, please lead the debate for a minute.
Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, permit me to lead the debate on this very crucial bill, which seeks to prohibit religious discrimination in all its forms in Nigeria. The bill seeks to provide for an enforcement mechanism for certain provisions of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 as altered, Universal Declaration of Human Rights, International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women, African Charter on Human and People's Rights, the Protocol of the African Charter on Human and People's Rights on the Rights of Women in Africa. The bill, when passed into law, is expected to address the ranging religious discrimination in the country. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, the issue of religious discrimination is one of the most prevalent menaces in the country today. It has caused negative consequences and has hindered a sizable number of the population from having access to education, healthcare, finance, employment, and even recreational and other service activities. There are instances where some citizens lose their jobs, employment opportunities, or even outrightly hindered from having access to healthcare, education, finance, employment, only on the basis that they profess a religion or that they manifest their religious belief. Let me give some instances. In October 2016, a qualified radiographer, Awa Usali Olatunji, was disallowed from partaking in a job interview by the former chief medical director of one of the federal medical centers in Nigeria on the ground that she wore a hijab, a manifestation of a religious belief. It took 3 years before the National Industrial Court of Nigeria eventually held on 10 January 2019 that the treatment method on Hawaii was discriminatory and a violation of our rights. Also, on 17 December 2017, Amasa Fridaus was barred from being called to the Nigerian bar only because she adorned a hijab. It took the intervention of the National Assembly and intense advocacy from civil society organizations before she was eventually called to the bar in July 2018. But then she has missed 1 year in her professional career. On 14 February 2019, during the data capturing of workers for the IPPIS, some women were disallowed from being captured only on the basis that they manifest a particular religious belief. In this victimization, a Muslim pharmacist working at one of the general hospitals in the FCT and some other women were disallowed from being captured until the intervention of civil society organizations. In recent times, we've had other instances on a large scale in Ilorin, Kwara State, Ibadan, Oyo State, in Lagos State, and a host of other places. The consequence is that it hinders girls' child education, block access to education, healthcare, employment opportunities, and runs contrary to the fundamental objectives and directive principles of state policy, among others. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, it is against this background and a lot more that this bill is proposed to provide the mechanism for enforcing certain provisions of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 as altered. Some of the objectives of this legislative proposal include to prevent, prohibit, and eliminate all forms of discrimination, intimidation, and harassment against persons on the ground of religious belief or activity on the ground of manifestation of religion or religious belief in a wide range of areas of private and public life. To ensure that everyone has equal rights to equality before the law and access to education, healthcare, employment, financial services, recreational activities, and other services, regardless of religious belief or activity or the manifestation of religion or religious belief consistent with Nigeria's obligation to respect, promote, fulfill, and protect the right of freedom of thought, conscience, and religion, and the right against all forms of discrimination enshrined in the United Nations Declaration of Human Rights, International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women, African Charter on Human People's Rights, Protocol to the African and other similar conventions, charters, treaties, covenant, or protocol. To give effect to sections 39 and 42 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and subject to specified limits, prohibit all forms of discrimination against a person based on religious belief or activities or manifestation of religious belief in teaching, practice, worship, and practice. The bill contains only 20 clauses. Clause 1 to 10 provide for the citation, objectives of the bill, interpretations of certain words and phrases used in the bill, the prohibition of discriminatory conduct based on the religion by employers and regulatory professional bodies and educational institutions, and burden of proof. Others are clauses 11 to 14, which also provide for the provision of goods, services, and facilities for all classes of faith, discrimination in security, sport, and other sectors, and exceptions. Clause 15 to 20 provide for exceptions, administrative redress panel, jurisdiction of court, procedure, and miscellaneous provisions. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleague, this bill, when passed into law, will address discriminating conduct and prohibits religious discrimination concerning hiring or recruitment or the terms and conditions of employment. It will prohibit qualifying professional bodies, educational institutions, and employment agencies and other sectors from discriminating against persons, students, or personnel based on their religious belief or its manifestation. It will promote girls' child education and help citizens increase access to education, healthcare, finance, and employment opportunities. I therefore respectfully urge you to support the passage of this bill into law. Thank you so much.
Honorable, we have to move fast. Honorable Linda Ikpeazu, this affects women. I want you to contribute to this for 1 second. Honorable Linda Ikpeazu, please contribute to the debate. Why are you putting off your mic?
Voice?
Go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I'm Linda Ikpeazu. Well, I appreciate the position of the Deputy Chairman Finance and his sentiments. What I will suggest is that this be passed to the Committee on Constitutional Review so that it can be looked at.
What was it about?
No, he's basically talking about this issue of rights, actually. Is this issue of people having the right to wear the hijab, if they so choose. He's talking about human rights, right to choose. So, that should be referred to the Committee on Constitutional Review, so that we'll have people, everyone that will look at it.
Are you supporting or are you against?
Like I said, I do appreciate his position, and as a woman, not just as a woman, as a human being, I believe in people having choice.
Honorable Chinda is asking you a question. I don't know.
Chinda, what did you say? Because I said earlier, I'm going to answer. I said earlier that there's no woman in this house.
Don't worry.
I come from the profession that we are lawyers, we are all gentlemen at the bar.
I picked on you because I didn't think you were following the debate. I saw you back there talking and then you came here. Well, you've used some experience, don't worry. I think we'll just put the question. Those in support, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Ayes have it. Fourth order of the day is the commencement of debate on the general principle of a bill. Okay, sorry. Clerk, long title.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members, a bill for an act to provide a mechanism for enforcing certain provisions of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, Universal Declaration of Human Rights, International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women, African Charter on Human and People's Rights, the Protocol to the African Charter on Human and People's Rights on the Rights of Women in Africa, and for related matters. Second reading.
Bill referred to the Committee on Human Rights, Committee on Constitutional Amendment. Fourth order of the day is commencement of debate on the general principle of a bill for an act to alter the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 as amended to provide additional process of selecting a judge and make local government councils more responsive to the development of local government areas and for related matters, starting in the name of Honorable Anthony Affair. Honorable members will recall that the bill was read the first time on Tuesday, 1st December 2020, and I invite Honorable Affair to move that the bill be read a second time.
Mr. Speaker, fellow members, I remain Honorable High Chief Ife Affair, member representing the good people of Oakland, Sapler, and Ubia Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, after due consultation with Chairman Rules of Business, I wish to step this bill down for further.
Thank you. Bill, step down. Fifth order of the day is commencement of debate on the general principles of a bill for an act to amend the Discrimination Against Persons with Disabilities Act 2018 to address other forms of discrimination on grounds of learning disorder and for related matters. Starting in the name of Honorable Blessing Onu. Honorable members will recall that the bill was read the first time on Tuesday, 1st December 2020. I now invite Honorable Onyeche to move that the bill be now read a second time.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues. My name is Blessing Onyeche Onu, and I speak for the entire people of Otuto Ohimini Federal Constituency. I am from Benue State. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I rise to move that the bill for an act to amend the Discrimination Against Persons with Disabilities Act 2018 to address other forms of discrimination on grounds of learning disabilities and related matters to be read a second time. I so move.
Honorable J.J. Jimo, can you second, please?
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. My name is Jima Ibrahim Olajide. I represent Lagos Mainland Federal Constituency. I stand to second the motion as moved by Honorable Onu. Thank you.
Honorable Blessing, let's stick to 1 minute because of time.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I remain Honorable Blessing Onu, and I represent the people of Otupo Ohimini Federal Constituency. I am from Benue State. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, the purpose of this bill is to recognize, identify, and acknowledge that there are children and young adults in Nigeria who have learning disabilities, and these children ought to be given special educational attention. As we all know, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, the educational sector is the bedrock of every developed society, which is why the bill today seeks to give attention to people with special learning disabilities. In simple terms, a learning disability is a disorder that hinders the ability to process and retain information. It can affect children, young adults, and the old. However, this bill focuses more on school children and young adults. For we must bear in mind that our children are not the same. They all learn differently, and currently, our educational system doesn't provide room for different methods of learning. For example, some children and young adults may learn through verbal or auditory means, while others can be visual learners, etc. The most common learning disabilities are dyslexia, which impedes the student's ability to read and comprehend text. Some common signs of dyslexia may include the number 3. The number 3 looks like the letter, the alphabet E. So to some children, the letter W may confuse some children and it looks like M. And some is number 6 and a D, number 6 and 9 and so on and so forth. Due to similarities in structure. We also have attention deficit hyperactive disorder, children having difficulty paying attention and staying on task. We have dyscalculia, children that find it difficult in solving calculations, especially mathematics, dysgraphia and process deficit, having trouble making sense. If this vulnerability is not detected,
Honorable Blessing.
I'm almost done, Mr. Speaker. This bill is very important.
Wrap it up.
Detected or pre-identified early, it can grow into adulthood. That is why you see some people coming out in public and making mistakes, transition, and Nigerians will all go out. And the press too, they don't help matters. They go out and begin to make jest of such individuals. It is a learning disorder. And when this is not tackled, the children or adults may be feeling hopeless, feeling of failure, not wanted, increasing anxiety, and in many cases, early death. No child with disability is on their own. Parents, grandparents, friends, and all of us, we have an important role to play. In reality, many parents don't even understand what dyslexia or any form of learning disabilities are. They go on beating their children for failing in school. Teachers call them dull, and fellow students make fun of them, not understanding that dyslexics and other children with disabilities, including young adults, are slow in processing. If adequate supports are given to these children and young adults, they may be able to compete on an equal playing field with their peers. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, finally, the government should embark on awareness campaign and training of teachers in all schools to identify and recognize the signs of learning disability. It is most appropriate that these children should be given extended instructional time, like in an examination, because of their low process of dissemination. They should be given more time, extended time in exam, and extensive instruction, practice, and elaborated feedback. Mr. Speaker, finally, honorable colleagues, we all have a role to play. Let us all, in the spirit of empathy, aim to support these children and young adults. I so submit, Mr. Speaker. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Blessing. Those in support, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Ayes have it. Clerk.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members, a bill for an act to amend the Discrimination Against Persons with Disabilities Act 2018 to address other forms of discrimination on grounds of learning disorder and for related matters. Second reading.
Bill referred to the Committee on Disabilities. Sixth order of the day is a motion on need to stop incessant extortion, harassment, and victimization of people of Barutan, Kayama Federal Constituency, Kwara State by soldiers and other security forces standing in the name of Honorable Mohammed Omar Bio. Honorable Bio is invited to move the motion.
Mr. Speaker, distinguished honorable colleagues, Mohammed Omar Bio is my name. I represent all the people of Barutan and Kayama Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, distinguished honorable colleagues, I come from Kwara State. Mr. Speaker, I stand to present a motion on the need to stop the incessant extortion, harassment, victimization of people of Barutan and Kayama Federal Constituency of Kwara State by soldiers and other security forces. They have to know that to safeguard Nigerian border communities and prevent transborder crimes, soldiers and members of other security forces in Nigeria are constituted as joint task force to mount roadblocks in the border communities. Also note that rather than the soldiers mounting roadblocks across the border communities for security reasons for which they were constituted, they became revenue collectors from unsuspected motorists. Concerned that the soldiers extort motorists by charging fixed rate depending on the categories of the vehicle. Motorcycles are charged, for instance, 100 naira. Small cars pays 200 naira, while tankers are charged about 1,500 naira. These illegal fees are collected from several roadblocks in Barutan and Kayama Federal Constituency. Cognizant that the illegal fees collected by soldiers are greatly affecting the economy of the Barutan and Kayama Federal Constituency, leading to about 50% increment in transport fare, foodstuffs, and fuel respectively. Worried that various attempts by citizens to seek succor, particularly for not paying the illegal fee, or pay only while going or coming, will result at different times as seizure of their motorcycles and vehicles. Also worried that the climax of the mobilization by the soldiers happened on the 8th of January 2021, where soldiers descended on youths and motorists we've gone for refusing to pay the illegal fee, which led to the death of 3 innocent persons. May the souls of the deceased rest in peace. They are Muftal Abdul Hakim, Saad Abdul Qudus, and Khalid Zubair, while others who sustained various degrees of injuries are Abdullah Zakaria, Abubakar Tawfiq, Ibrahim Abdul Karim, Abdullah Khalidu, Kwame Gruma, Hussein Abdurazak, and Yakub Bio sustained bullet wounds and are currently receiving treatment in hospitals. Further worried that if the incidence of harassment, extortion by the soldiers manning the checkpoints is not nipped in the bud, more kills and casualties will be recorded. Resolve to urge the Chief of Army Staff to discipline the soldiers involved in shooting and killing of armless citizens in Barutun and Kaima Federal Constituency under the Armed Forces Act. Mandate the Committee on Army to investigate the incident of incessant extortion, harassment, and victimization of people of Barutun and Kaima by soldiers deployed to mount checkpoints at the border community. Mr. Speaker, distinguished honorable colleagues, I so move.
Honorable Emeka, please, second.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I represent the good people of Ayas in Business Federal Constituency and from Imo State. I rise to second the motion ably moved by my good friend, Honorable Bio. I shall second.
Bill moved, motion moved by Honorable Bio, seconded by Honorable Emeka. Those in favor, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Ayes have it. Seventh order of the day is motion on reviving earth dams across the country, signed in the name of Honorable Saidu Mohammed Mustafa and 2 other members. Honorable members, Honorable Mustafa is invited to move the motion.
Honorable colleagues, my name is Honorable Said Mustafa Mohammed, representing people of Full Forest on Federal Constituency. I'm from Adamawa State, Mr. Speaker. I stand to present a motion on the urgent need to revive dams across the country to provide for sufficient water for year-round irrigation farming to boost agriculture and food security in Nigeria. This motion is a joint motion with my other colleagues, Professor Julius Ibahere and Honorable Abubakar Yakusada. Mr. Speaker, you have to note that water is a critical input for agricultural production and plays an important role in food security. You should also note that food security has become a matter of urgent national public importance, and in the face of challenges such as floods, climate change effects, rising population and growth, and insecurity. The House further notes that today's agriculture uses 70% of all fresh water withdrawals globally and up to 95% in several developing countries in order to meet the growing food demand and shifting dietary needs of our people. They are also aware that in 1976, federal government established 11 river basin development authorities, all of them to ensure full exploitation of country's water resources and to optimize agricultural potentials for food self-sufficiency. They are also aware that the huge benefits accruable to the nation as a result of its vast arable land and water resources include domestic use, all year-round irrigation, industrial uses, flood control, hydraulic power, tourism, recreation, navigation, etc., which are catalysts for economic development but have continued to elude the nation owing to failure of the river basins to fulfill their mandate. They are also further aware that rice, a major staple consumed in Nigeria, which account for over 10% of household food spending, will be impacted negatively in the succeeding years due to shortage of rainfall, particularly in Adamawa and other northern states. Concerned that the failure of the river basin have precipitated yearly capital flight for importation of agricultural produce that could easily be produced in the country. Cognizant of Section 2.5, subsection E of the updated legislative agenda of this 9th Assembly, which identify overdependence on rain-fed agriculture and very low level of irrigation development as a key challenge to agricultural production in Nigeria. Also cognizant of the federal government current drive to diversify the economy through agri, hence there is no better time to expand our dams and reservoir projects across the country to make for irrigation of arable land, support diversification of the economy, and boost agricultural production as well as manage the devastating floods that have ravaged most agrarian communities, like in my constituency, Fuforeso, Adamawa, and some other parts of Abia, Katsina, and in parts of Sokoto, Kogi, to mention but a few. Worried that, according to SY report, about 13.8 million people will be facing acute food shortage crisis between June and August 2021, and that the number could grow to about 14 million if measures are not taken to avert the hunger crisis. Convinced that the revitalization and efficient utilization of dams across the country will improve agricultural productivity, mitigate rural-urban migration, create employment for our teeming youth, and untimely eradication of poverty in the country, and also convinced that Nigeria has the potential of driving much higher revenue from agricultural produce like rice, cassava, fisheries, livestock development of its livestock, and development of its water resources potentials are fully harnessed. The House resolved to, 1, urge the Federal Minister of Water Resources, A, carry out a holistic need assessment of irrigation dams across the country. B, give priority attention to construction of irrigation dams and projects in subsequent budget proposals. C, ensure expeditious construction of irrigation dams where viable for agricultural purposes. 2, the House should resolve to mandate the Committee on Water Resources to visit and assess the 11 river basin development authorities, their dams, their reservoir projects across the country, with a view to ascertaining their level of operation and ensure appropriate budgetary allocation in the following years. And 3, mandate the Committee on Legislative Compliance to ensure implementation. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Kuya, please second.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable colleagues, my name remains Ademori Aliukuye. I represent the good people of Shomolu Federal Constituency. I rise to second the motion, ably moved by my colleague. Also second. Thank you, sir.
Those in support, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Ayes have it. The eighth order of the day is a motion on engaging young Nigerians trained by the Petroleum Technology Development Fund. Standing in the name of Honorable Samaila Suleiman, Honorable Suleiman is invited to move the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
From 99.
My dear honorable colleagues, I am Honorable Suleiman Samaila. I represent the very good people of Kaduna North, Federal Constituency of Kaduna State. I stand to present a motion titled Engaging Young Nigerians Trained by the Petroleum Technology Development Fund, PTDF. The House notes that the Petroleum Technology Development Fund, PTDF, was established in 1973 to replace the defunct Gulf of Oil Company Training Fund for the purpose of training and educating Nigerians in the oil and gas industry. The House also notes that PTDF is not to act only as an instrument for the development of indigenous resources and technology transfer acquisition in the petroleum industry, but also to make Nigeria a human resource hub for the West African sub-region in the petroleum sector by training Nigerians to qualify as candidates, as graduates, professionals, technicians, and entrepreneurs in the field of engineering, geology, science, and management in the petroleum industry. Aware that the PTDF activities was designed to lay a lasting foundation for growth and development while strengthening existing technology as well as supporting infrastructural and human capacity for discoveries and innovations. The House is also aware that PTDF, amongst other things, was aimed at providing scholarships and bursaries wholly or partially to students in universities, colleges, institutions with petroleum-related curriculum in Nigeria
Honorable Kuye,
or
please approach the chair.
abroad. The House is worried that PTDF has been spending 60 to 7 million naira on each student for a 3 to 4 year course for hundreds of students yearly, impacting them with much knowledge, yet most of the students are not engaged in any useful employment that adds value to the nation's development, a situation which have left especially the students not being proud of themselves nor their nation, and chooses to work abroad rather than in Nigeria to add value to the petroleum industry. The House resolves to 1, urge the ministries, departments, and agencies related to the petroleum industry to ensure that beneficiaries of the Petroleum Technology Development Fund scholarship schemes are engaged in the services of government with a view to ensuring that money expended for their training and knowledge acquired are not being wasted. 2, mandate the committees on petroleum resources and the Committee on Legislative Compliance to ensure compliance. I so move.
Okay, so there's only one hand left standing. Dr. Michela.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, honorable members. I remain Honorable Dr. Haruna Michelia. I represent the good people of Askra Bahawul Federal Constituency of Borno State. I stand to second the motion ably moved by Honorable Somaila. I so second, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Smila, for this very important motion on the need for the training of our young ones. So I'll straightforward, let's just put the question. Those in support, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Ayes have it. Honorable colleagues, I have a very important appointment in the office. I have to rush to the office now, leaving the Deputy Speaker, but Honorable Mongono has just taken his thank you, Honorable Mongono, the Chief Whip of the House. Before I take my leave for my appointment, during the executive session, the leadership of the House decided on the issue of security, which is getting increasingly more challenging. We decided to set up a very special committee that will comprise of all the principal officers, the leadership, and about 30 other members to sit down and in the next, hopefully 2-3 weeks, come up with a solid proposal on a way forward, knock heads together, a way forward to stem the security problems in Nigeria. That's what we decided to do, think outside the box, and then send this proposal or recommendations to the executive and Mr. President. So the membership list, all principal officers of the House, Honorable Jaha Mukhtar Usman from Borno, Honorable Salam Bamidele from Osun, Honorable Sada Soli, Katsina, Honorable Serki Ada Musa, Sokoto, Honorable Dana Gudu Munir Baba, Kano, Professor Nyobere, Edo State, Honorable Jimmy Benson, Lagos, Honorable Mohamed Garba Dati, Kaduna, Honorable Gariwe Iduma Enwo, Ebonyi State, Honorable Alagwaso Imo, Honorable Uju Kingsley, Imo State, Honorable Shetima Lawan, Yobe, Honorable Faleke, Lagos, Honorable Linda Ipeazu, Anambra, Honorable Ahmed Satomi, Borno, Honorable Al Hassan Kabiru Rurum, Kano State, Honorable Abubakar Hassan Fulata, Jigawa, Honorable Shehu Balarabe, Kaduna, Honorable Shehu Damfulani, Zamfara, Joseph Bello Kogi, Honorable Wale Oke, Oshun, Honorable Betara, Borno, Honorable Chidoka, Anambra, Nalaraba, Nasarawa, Honorable Chinda Kingsley, Rivers, Honorable Mokolo, Delta, Honorable Dan Dutse, Katsina, Honorable Pata Sadu, Enugu, Honorable Gumi, Zamfara, and Honorable Kumo, Gombe State. Yes. Yes, Honorable Danjuma Taraba and Honorable Zoni Zangodara Katsina. The initial meeting will be announced in the next couple of days. We need to get to work straight away and present a report 2-3 weeks from now to the House for onward transmission to the President.
Clerk. Okay, sir. Respected colleagues, the ninth order of the day is a motion on completion of 33 kVA line in Rivers and Bayelsa State, standing in the name of Honorable Abiante and 17 others. Honorable Abiante is invited to move the motion.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker, and my distinguished colleagues. I remain Awaji Nombek Dagomie Abiante. I represent Andoni Opobo, Nkoro Federal Constituency of Rivers State. I rise to move a motion with 17 other members. And Mr. Speaker, before I go ahead, I seek your leave to correct a typographical error that is quite technical. It is 330 kV line, 330 transmission line, not 33 kVA line. So all along, anywhere we have 33 kVA will be 330 kV line. The House notes that Rivers State is the 6th most populated state in Nigeria, with a population of 7.303924, according to the NBS 2016, and is economically significant as the center of Nigeria's oil industry. Similarly, Bayelsa State, with a population of 2,77961, is the 4th largest producer of crude oil. The House also notes that along with Bayelsa State, Rivers State is home to Nigeria's biggest export and has the highest number of oil wells and reserves in the country, and therefore Nigeria's prosperity in terms of its GDP and foreign exchange earnings cannot be well articulated without mentioning the significant contributions of Rivers and Bayelsa States. The House aware that in 2020, Rivers State is reported to have the 3rd highest unemployment rate in Nigeria at 43.7%, while 27.8% of labor force in Bayelsa State remains unemployed. Also aware that the structure of the Nigerian economy is typical of an underdeveloped country with only one sector accounting for about 95% of export earnings and about 85% of government revenue between 2011 and 2012 as a record. The House is further aware that Nigeria's industrial sector in the same period accounted for a paltry 6% of economic activity, while the manufacturing sector contributed only 4% to the GDP. Observes that the economic transformation envisaged for the current industrial policy in Nigeria is failing woefully because its core strategies, which include the provision of an enabling environment and infrastructure, are almost non-existent. The House is worried that despite the amount of resources and potentials in Rivers State and Bayelsa, the 330 kV line, which should be a catalyst for industry and manufacture, has not been considered to the extent that the 330 kV line infrastructure proposed for One River State has since been abandoned, while that of Bayelsa State is yet to commence. Further aware that industrialization has remained the sine qua non for economic growth, long-term poverty reduction, job creation, and the transformation of a traditional agrarian society to a modern industrialized society. We believe that there is a direct relationship between unemployment and the increased militancy, including kidnappings and other sundry crimes. Hence, the completion of the abandoned 330 kV line in One River State and the extension of same to Bayelsa will go a long way in ensuring rapid industrialization of the two states and reduce unemployment and all forms of social vices. I call on the House to resolve to urge the Federal Ministry of Power and the Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN, to ensure the completion of the installation of the 330 kV line in One and extend same to Bayelsa State. The House should further mandate the Committees on Power and Legislative Compliance to ensure compliance. I so move.
Any seconder? Chairman Environment. Respected colleagues, this is an related motion, so I hereby put the question. Those in favor of the motion say aye. Against say nay. The ayes have it. Respected colleagues, the 10th order of the day is a motion on call to investigate the activities of the Presidential Implementation Committee on Federal Government Landed Properties, standing in the name of Honorable Nasir Zangondara. Honorable Zangondara is invited to be the motion. Stepping down. Yeah, stepping down. Step.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm Nasir Sani Zangondara, representing Zango Area Federal Constituency. I'm from Katsina State. Mr. Speaker, as you've advised, I will step down my own motion pending further discussion on the matter. Thank you.
I think for further legislative action, input. Thank you. Respected colleagues, the 11th order of the day is a motion on need to secure airports across the country, standing in the name of Honorable Musa Mohammed Pali. Honorable Pali is invited the motion.
About 11 people concerned that if attack and other security challenges are allowed in the nation airport, which are the most safest means on transport today and high forest area of the economy of Nigeria, air transport will be exposed to the security challenge facing the land transport. Worried that the bandits were respond to have gained access to the airport staff quarters through the runway and made away with their victims, including the staff of the Nigerian Airspace Management Agency and a wife and sons of staff of Nigerian Meteorological Agency. Also worried that if the security around the Nigerian airport is not urgently improved, it could be scare international travelers, including investors, and may bring sanctions from international regulatory bodies. Resolve. One, to invite the Minister of Aviation to brief committee on aviation and how the bandit gained entrance into the Kaduna airport and how to prevent future recurrence in the nation airports. Number two, urge the Inspector General of Police and other security operations at the nation airports on beef security, prevent such breach and secure the release of adopted people and fish out the bandit. Number three, mandated the Committee on Aviation Police, Interior to ensure compliance and report back within 3 weeks for further legislative action. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Seconder. Deputy Chairman, women.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, honorable colleagues. My name is Vincent Ekene Ofumelo. I represent the most natural people of Oyi, and I am a federal constituency of Anambra State. Mr. Speaker, I rise to second the motion heavily moved by my colleagues. I so second, Mr. Speaker. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, honorable colleagues.
Respected colleagues, I hear back with the question. Those in favor of the motion say aye. Against say nay. The ayes have it. Respected colleagues, the 12th order of the day is a motion on completion of the ongoing construction work at the Nigerian Police Intelligence School, Share, Kwara State, standing in now Honorable Jimo Abrahim. Honorable Olajide is invited to move the motion.
Jima Ibrahim Olajide, I represent Lagos Mainland, Federal Constituency of Lagos State. I stand to move the motion number 12 on the other paper dated 17th March 2021. Read thus: completion of ongoing construction work at Nigeria Police Intelligence School, Share, Kwara State. The House notes that the construction of Nigeria Police Intelligence School, Share, Kwara State, started in December 2012 on hectares of land of 100. The structure is fenced with 2 blocks of classrooms with 24 classes were completed and equipped chairs and tables, and administrative blocks that contain about 80 lecture rooms and more than 60 offices. Also note that the purpose of establishing the school, among other intelligence schools throughout the country, is for the capacity building and training of the Nigeria Police Force personnel, as intelligence is key in every policing all over the world. Aware that a similar school was commissioned at the Police Detective College, Enugu State, in 2013 by the former Minister of Police Affairs, Navy Captain Caleb Olubolade, alongside the Inspector General of Police then, Muhammad Abubakar. Also aware that contrary to the policy direction of President Muhammad Buhari on continued with the legacy project inherited from previous administration. The ongoing construction of Nigeria Police Intelligence School, Share, Kwara State, has not been given the necessary attention since 2015. Concern that further delay to complete the ongoing construction of Nigeria Police Intelligence School, Kwara State, will not only jeopardize the efforts and achievement already recorded, but will make the millions of naira spent on the project a waste of public funds. Cognizant of the fact that the host community of the school appreciate the effort of Nigeria Police Force and therefore call on the federal government and in particular Nigeria Police Force to complete the ongoing construction of Nigeria Police Intelligence School, Share, Kwara State, convinced that with the necessary legislative intervention, all hands will be on deck to ensure that the ongoing construction of Nigeria Police Intelligence School, Share, Kwara State, is given all that is required in terms of funding for the school to become operational and effective in helping to find lasting solutions to the numerous security challenges facing the country. Therefore, resolve, mandate the Committee on Police Affairs Appropriation to make provisions in the 2022 budget estimate to ensure the completion of ongoing construction of Nigeria Police Intelligence School, Share, Kwara State, a reality. I so move, sir.
Seconder, Honorable Ali.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ali Adeyemi Taufik is my name. I represent Moshiwan Presidency in Lagos. I rise to second the motion ably moved by my brother and friend, Honorable Lagide Jimo. Mr. Speaker, I so second. Thank you.
Respected colleagues, amendment? Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My name is Honorable Lawrence Abatunde Ayeni. I represent the good people of Atakmosa East, Atakmosa West, Ilesha East, Ilesha West, Osun State, and the Deputy Chairman Police Affairs. I have an insight in this school through my committee, and that ends this amendment. If the school has been established since 2012, and they have appointed commandant to the school since then, I think, and this my amendment to be, since the commandant has been chosen for the school, and the school should start running, because it's 2012, all the provisions, everything, the facilities are there, although some of the buildings are still under construction, but the commandant has been chosen. And that is why I said the commandant has been to the school, and the school should start running for the purpose of intelligent education as the aim and objective of establishing the school, and the House Committee on Police Affairs to work on the compliance of this addendum to the motion. That's my amendment.
Yes, sir. Now, Honorable Munguno.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members, my name is Mohamed Tar Munguno. I represent Marte Munguno, Ganze Federal Constituency of Borno State. I second the motion ably moved by the Deputy Chairman Police Affairs Committee. I so second.
Respected colleagues, those in favor of the amendment say aye. Against say nay. The ayes have it. Those in favor of the motion as amended say aye. Against say nay. The ayes have it. Respected colleagues, the 13th order of the day is a motion the commencement of operation at the Warri refinery and petrochemical company, turning now Honorable Ben Rollins Igbakwa. Honorable Igbakwa is invited to move the motion. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I am Honorable Ben Roland Zimbabwe. I represent Ethiopia East, Ethiopia West by the special grace of God from Delta State. Mr. Speaker, my motion is on the commencement of operation at the Warri Refinery and Petrochemical Company. The House notes that the Warri Refining and Petrochemical Company is mandated to produce refined products from mainly local crude. The three main sections of the production department, namely reforming, crude distillation, and catalytic cracking units, have operated for the past 8 years, have not operated for the past 8 years due to efforts of its personnel. Aware that the plants were operating at an output of around 115 cubic meter per hour, which translates to about 68% installed capacity. Products that were being supplied from the Warri Refinery included premium motor spirit, which is petrol, automotive gas oil, AGO, which is diesel, DPK, kerosene, LPG, low fuel oil for ships and industrial fuel, carbon black. The stuff that the refinery has not operated optimally due to the alleged top management decisions of the NNPC to grant the plant for personal benefit from marketers importing products that can be produced in the country. Concerned that the plant has severally shut down due to haulage challenges, neglect in the evacuation of products, lack of functional or operational storage tank, and poor maintenance culture on the part of the management, which also constitute another reason for the refinery non-functionality. Aware of the alleged plan to grant the plant from refining products by members of the top echelon of Warri Refinery in collaboration with the Chief Operating Officer, as well as diverting crude meant for refining. Also aware that when crude is delivered from Escravos tank farm for refining, the products are hoarded for about 14 days and thereafter diverted through the refining jetty to interested buyers or specific company they have special interest in, who pay less. The resultant effect of this perceived economic sabotage is that the plant is brought down because no crude to refine as it has been diverted. Further aware that when it became apparent that the management of WRPC have abandoned their responsibility of maintaining the plant, the staff of the refinery on several occasions contributed their monies to buy material and tools to fix faulty equipment. Alarmed that currently most of the spherical tank used for storage of liquefied petroleum gas, LPG, has been leased out to Kwale Hydrocarbon Nigeria Limited, a private company, while other storage tanks are being leased out to private interests, all in a bid to ensure that the plant and petrochemical company remain shut down indefinitely, even when the said refinery has the production capacity of 75%. Also cognizant that consider that the federal government has officially confirmed the return of fuel subsidy as the Petroleum Product Pricing Regulatory Agency, PPPRA, as on the 11th March 2021, fixed the pump price of PMS, also known as petrol, at 212.61 per liter for March, which the Minister of State for Petroleum Resources and NNPC has denied. Marketers still sell between 175 and 200 naira, depending on the location. Also cognizant that the increase is due to the shutdown of local refineries, create the cost element of the commodity with the Petroleum Pricing Regulatory Agency analyzed as comprising the addition to the ex-coastal price of average littering expenses. Nigeria Maritime Administration, NIMASA, charges, jetty throughput charges, storage charges, and average financing costs with the inclusion of retailers' margin has now brought the pump price of the commodity to 212 naira 61 kobo per liter. Believe that all that was required was routine maintenance to further improve the operating capacity of the refinery, which the local manpower was capable of providing, and have demonstrated same over time to make the price of petroleum premium motor spirit affordable. Also believe that the commencement of local production will help to mitigate the incessant and upward price adjustment of petroleum products, ameliorate the hardship and inflation that comes with such exercise to Nigeria and Nigerians. Resolved to, 1, urge the GMD of the NNPC to immediately commence operation of the plant to improve on the production capacity before the suspicious shutdown. 2, urge the GMD to furnish the Committee on Petroleum Resources upstream with details and circumstances surrounding the storage lease when we are not disposing of the company. 3, mandate the Committee on Petroleum Upstream to investigate the failure, refusal, and or neglect of NNPC to address the haulage challenges vis-a-vis the inadequate storage tanks affecting the Warri Refinery and Petrochemical Company, to forestall the frequent shutting down of the refinery and report back in 4 weeks. I beg to move, Mr. Speaker.
Seconder. Honorable Miriam.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable colleagues, my name is Honorable Princess Miriam Odinaka Onoha. I represent the people of Isi Alamba, Onimo, Okigwe Federal Constituency. I'm from Imo State. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I rise to second this motion as moved by my colleagues. I so second. Thank you.
Amendment, Honorable Siaka.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I'm Honorable Ibrahim from Isiaka. I represent the very good people before a week of the Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, distinguished honorable colleagues, I'm from Ogun State. While appreciating the mover of this motion, I know it's not any news to us again about the malfeasance occurring in all the refineries we have in the country. But what is more worrisome here, Mr. Speaker, are the serious allegations contained in this petition. Because of this, I want to appeal to the House that we delete prayer 1 and 2, while prayer 3 be amended to read as such. Mandate the House committees on petroleum resources, upstream and downstream, to launch an investigative hearing on the precarious state of Warri Refinery and Petrochemical Company, the asset deterioration, unlawful lease, and other factors mitigating optimal production in the plants, and to report to the House within 8 weeks for further legislative action. I so amend, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, sir.
Seconder to the amendment. Seconder to the amendment. Isiaka, I hope you know your own. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My name is Wale Raji. I represent a peripheral constituency of Lagos State. I rise to second the motion for the amendment of the prayers ably moved by Honorable Isiaka. I so second. Thank you.
Those in favor of the amendment say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Those in favor of the motion as amended say aye. Against say nay. The ayes have it. Esteemed colleagues, the 14th order of the day is a motion on call for provision of sign language, sign language interpreters during plenaries and other functions in the National Assembly. Standing now, Honorable Miriam Onoha. Honorable Onoha is invited to move the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable colleagues, my name is Honorable Princess Miriam Odinaka Onoha. I speak for the people of Isi Alamba, Onimo, Okigwe Federal Constituency. I am from Imo State. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, this morning I rise to take a motion on the need to call for provisions of sign language interpreters during plenaries and other functions in the National Assembly. But I rise to step it.
Thank you.
I rise to step the motion down for further consultations.
Mr. Speaker, I so do. Thank
Motion
you.
stepped down by the leader of the House. Respected colleagues, the 15th order of the day is consideration of a bill for an act to provide establishing the Federal University of Education, Kontagora, and related matters. All members will recall that the bill was committed to Committee of the Whole on Wednesday, 10th February 2021. The leader will move the motion for its consideration.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Honorable members, Ado Dogwa is my name. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I represent the good people of Dogwa, Chudungwada Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I rise to move that a bill for an act to provide for establishment of Federal University of Education, Kontagora, and for related matters, HB 1136, a Senate bill, be considered. The report of the bill be considered, sir. May I also seek your indulgence to also move that a bill for an act to establish the report for a bill of an act, the report for a bill for an act to establish Federal University of Agriculture and Technology, Funtua, and for related matters, HB 645, Senate bill, also be considered. May I once again, Mr. Speaker, honorable members, move concurrently that a bill for an act to establish Federal College of Education, Illo in Kebbi State, and for related matters, HB 643, a Senate bill, be considered as well. A bill for an act to amend the National Oil Spill Detection and Response Agency Act 2006, and for related matters, HB 351, be considered as well. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I so move.
Seconder, whip.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members, I second the motion ably moved by the leader for consideration of the three reports. I so second.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Against say nay. The ayes have it. Respected colleagues, the 18th order of the day is a consideration of a bill for an act to amend the National Oil Spill Detection and Response Agency Act 2006 and for related matters. All members will call the bill was committed to Committee of the Whole on Wednesday, 9th October 2019. Honorable Makwe Levinus Makwe will move for its consideration.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable colleagues, I am Honorable Makwe Levinus Makwe. I represent the good people of Ohosra, Onitsha, Ivo Federal Constituency. I am from Ebonyi State. I rise to move for the consideration of the report on the bill for an act to amend the National Oil Spill Detection and Response Agency Act 2006 and for related matters, HB 351, for it to be considered in the Committee of the Whole. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Henry.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Henry Wauba. I speak for the enterprising people of Mbitoli Keduru Federal Constituency of Imo State. I rise to second the motion ably moved by Honorable Makwe. I so second. Thank you.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Against say nay. The ayes have it. Respected colleagues, the 19th order of the day is consideration of a report of the Committee of the House Services on need to investigate the irregularities in the payments of salaries and allowances of legislators in 9th Assembly. Honorable members will call the report was laid on Tuesday, 16 March 2021, of Tasir Olawale Raji to move for its consideration.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My name is Wale Raji. I represent a peripheral constituency of Lagos State. I rise to move that the House do consider the report of the Committee on House Services on the need to investigate the irregularities in the payment of salaries and allowances of legislative aides in the 9th Assembly and approve the recommendations therein. I so move, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Seconder, Honorable Galway.
Idoma Enwo. I represent the people of Afikpo North, Afikpo South Federal Constituency. I'm from Ebonyi State. Mr. Speaker, I rise to second the motion as ably moved. I so second.
Respected colleagues, those in favor of the motion say aye. Against say nay. The ayes have it. Respected colleagues, the 12th order of the day, 20th order of the day is a consideration of report of the Committee on Public Procurement on investigation into procurement deception, staff victimization, and ongoing management problems in the Project Development Institute, PRODA, Enugu, under the Federal Ministry of Science and Technology. All members will recall the report was laid on Tuesday, 16 March 2021, on Nasir Ali Ahmed is moved for its consideration.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. My name is Nasir Ali Ahmed. I represent Nasara Federal Constituency, and I'm from Kano State. I rise to move the motion that the House do consider the report of the Committee on Public Procurement on the need to investigate the procurement deception, staff victimization, and the ongoing management problem in the Project Development Institute, PRODA, Enugu, under the Federal Ministry of Science and Technology, and approve the recommendations therein.
Honorable Flatter.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I am Abubakar Hassan Fulata. I represent the New Agriculture and Ability Constituency, Mr. Speaker, from the Lagos State. Mr. Speaker, I rise to second the motion, every moved by Honorable Nasir Ali Ahmed. I so second.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Against say nay. The ayes have it. Respected colleagues, House Leader, move that the House do resolve into the Committee of the Whole to consider the bills and the reports.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, honorable members. I rise as directed by the Speaker that this House do resolve to the Committee of the Whole to consider reports on the bill. Thank you.
Seconder Chibuik.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members, my name is Mohammed Tahir Munguno. I represent Marte Munguno, Ganze Federal Constituency of Borno State. I second the motion moved by the leader that the House do resolve to a Committee of the Whole to consider the reports. I so second.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Against say nay. The ayes have it. The House is hereby resolved into Committee of the Whole. The first bill to be considered is for an act to provide for the establishment of Federal University of Education, Kontagora, and for related matters. I now invite the leader to give the synopsis of the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, honorable members. May I, in the light of Bill number 15, Bill number 16 and 17, Right Honorable Chairman, crave on the indulgence of this honorable House and the honorable members that these are bills that are, by their context, for establishment of educational institutions. Mr. Speaker, these are bills that I believe...
Leader, just a minute. We're having some mix-up here.
Okay, sir.
That we do not have the report on the 15. When I saw it, I almost thought that, I thought we did consider this report last time. We did. Kontekora? Last week. Okay. I think you step down this one because we don't have the report for now. But it's in the secretariat.
It's okay. Right Honorable Chairman and honorable members.
Or you can give us the synopsis, we'll step it down for consideration. They should go and bring it now.
I think that would be better. I even wanted to give the synopsis of Bill 15, 16, and
I think go ahead and do the same.
Concurrently, yes.
Yes.
So that in the meantime, they will go and bring the report.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman, for allowing me the opportunity to, like I said, take level Bill 15, 16, and 17. Right Honorable members, these are bills for establishment of educational institutions in various parts of this country, and they are submitted by members either in the Senate or in the House of Representatives. In the case of the one we have before us, are mostly brought from the Senate of our consideration. This, like I said, will go in tandem with the policies and programs of government in terms of creating opportunities for education, and our youth will be very happy for it. Mr. Chairman, honorable members, I so submit. Thank you.
Thank you, respected leader. Colleagues, the bill for an act to be considered for the Salmon Federal College for Education, ILO, KB State, and for related matters. Clause 1. 2. 4. 8. 11. 12. 13. 15. 24. Clause 25, 6, clause 27, 28, 9, 30. Long title. Explanatory memoranda first. As well, colleagues, the bill to consider is to provide for the establishment of Federal University of Agriculture and Technology from Tua, Katsina State, and for related matters. Clause 1. 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 12, 17, 20, 20. 31. 32. 7. 38. 39. Are you sure? Schedules. Explanatory memoranda. Is it available now? I was made to understand it was distributed yesterday, the report for Kontagora.
Changed yesterday, but I've asked the clerk to
Let them bring it, so the parents should work hard.
can go ahead with other reports.
Thank you. So that before you don't drag us back. Respected colleagues, the bill to consider is for an act to amend the National Oil Spill Detection and Response Agency Establishment Act 2006 and for related matters. Honorable Makwe is invited to give the synopsis of the bill. Chairman Environment, why is it?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This is a bill that seeks to amend the National Oil Spill Detection and Response Agency Act 2006. The bill was earlier passed in the 8th Assembly by both houses and transmitted to the President for assent. But he didn't do that because he raised certain observations, which we have critically looked at and addressed all those issues. For instance, the issue of 0.5% that was to be levied on oil companies to form as a base, as a revenue for the agency. We have deleted that clause completely, since it will be an extra burden on the oil companies. Instead, the one that he retained, which is 2.5%, that will be an extra fund, so that when there are issues that involve third-party interferences in the oil spill, like oil theft, like vandalization, which the oil companies don't have to handle by themselves, the agency should be able to have funds to address it. That one is retained and returned. Again, there are some agencies that...
May I ask, Honorable Makwe, sorry, the 2.5 you said is taken from where?
The 2.5% is taken from the ecological fund. That one, the president did not object to that the first time. So we retained it this time around to be the only additional source of fund in case of third-party interferences. That is where the oil companies are not responsible for the spill, and it's just there. So the agency will have funds to access to address those areas. There is also the issue of introducing some other agencies to be members of the board, like NIMASA, like Nigerian Civil Aviation, like Independent Petroleum Marketers Association. Also, one of the changes that is also being addressed here is the issue of giving the agency power to increase the level of fines or penalties in line with present economic realities. So if these changes that we addressed here are introduced, that agency will actually be able to have the strength to be able to access more resources to do their job. Because as it stands now, they don't have enough power. For example, they want to enter the premises. Because if you tell the agencies that you are coming, if you write them that you are coming, they will try to clean up and make some patches and things that will present them in a good light. But with this bill now, there are some clauses also that gives the agency power to enter once they get court order to come and search the premises or search suspected areas. So these are the things that we have tried to introduce in this bill to refine it and make it stronger to serve the purpose for which it is being established.
I'm going to carry all of us along. What is the increase in the fine? What was the figure and what is the present increase now?
What was what, Mr. Speaker?
What was the fine as contained in the former act and then the new increase they are seeking the House to approve?
The fines are various. It's not just for one contravention. Some is increased from 500,000 to not less than, before it was like the one that is fixed at 500,000 is increased now to not less than 2 million. That means it can be the 500, it can be more than it. No, to not less than. That means it should not be less than 2 million, but it can be more than it. You have some flexibility. Not a question of you just peg it to something that is not enough to serve as a good deterrent.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Respected colleagues.
Thank you.
Clause 1, 2, 3, 7, 9, 10, 11. I hope you did your numbering well. Makwe and the Chairman Environment. I hope you did your numbering well. Can you turn to page 7? Yes, sir.
I'm there, Mr. Speaker.
Form of the agency. You have 11 there. Then beneath you have federal government intervention. 19. Are you sure you did the numbering well?
Amendment of section 19 on the principal act. That is what is being listed in the second column. That is the particular clause that is being amended.
This one then is number what?
That is amendment number 7. On page 7, in the second column, is amendment number 7.
I refer you to first look at the top. Funds of the agency, 11. The agency shall have, that's big clause 11. If you come down to the federal government intervention, clause what now?
The agency shall, 1, in the event of major...
I'm asking you of the clause. What clause is that then?
It's clause 19 in the old one.
Where are the remaining clauses then? So I beg you to step down your frustration so that you go and look and clean it properly, so that we don't embarrass ourselves again.
No, it's clear, Mr. Speaker. Sorry, in the clause 19, because it's not all the clauses that are written here. It's only the clauses.
Our normal reporting system is that even if there is no amendment, you are supposed to put them there and put the word retain, so that every member will go home with an informed position of what he has done, and if there's any reference, he can easily.
Just because it's not a
You have the weekend to do that. There's nothing bad. Anything we're doing is we're doing well. Thank you. So, further consultations on this particular step down for further.
That was what I complained.
Isn't it? Thank you. Quantagora? No, yeah, available? Is here. Respected colleagues, bill to be considered is to provide for the establishment of Federal University of Education, Kontagora, and for other related matters connected there with 2019. Clause 1. Two. Respected colleagues, I think this will suffer the same fate. So, please, Secretariat, rules and business, do your best, do the numbering properly for Kontagora. So, we'll step down for consideration for further legislative input. Respected colleagues, the first report to be considered is that of the Committee on the House Services on need to investigate irregularities in the payments of salaries and allowances of legislative aides in the 9th Assembly. I now invite Novo Tasir Olawale Raji to give the synopsis of the report, not bill.
Yeah. Thank you. No, it's been circulated. Mr. Chairman, sir, you will recall that on the 18th of March 2020, there was a motion that was moved and passed by the House on the need to investigate the inconsistency in the payment of legislative aides, salaries, and allowances. Now, the Committee on Health Services was mandated to look into this, and to establish the facts, and we interacted, with the chairman and members of the National Assembly Service Commission. We also had a meeting with the clerk to the National Assembly and the management staff, as well as the officers of the Legislative Aids Forum. And the issue at stake was the inconsistency in the payment of the salaries and allowances of the legislative aids. Now, legislative aids are normally assume duty along with their principals, and we discovered that adequate provisions were made for the payment of the salaries and allowances of members along with their staff, with the legislative aids. So there was no reason why there must be any discrepancy in the payment of the allowances. We discovered that some were paid from the date of the assumption of duty of their principals, while others were paid at different dates, despite the fact that their principals indicated their actual date of assumption of duties. So there was also the complaint that the allowance in lieu of hotel accommodation for the first 28 days that is normally paid to a newly recruited staff, which they've enjoyed in the past, were also denied. So our recommendation was that the National Assembly Service Commission should direct the management of National Assembly to pay all the legislative aides their allowance for the first 28 days and arrears of unpaid salaries with effect from the date of their assumption of office as confirmed by their principals, that is, the senators and honorable members. And that, this recommendation was based on the fact that it was established that adequate provision. Yeah?
Okay, I suppose so.
Okay.
Thank you. It's not a detail. You are not supposed to. The details are contained in the report. Yeah, say okay. You can have this.
And in other part of the recommendation has been implemented. They paid the 28 to the first 28 days. It is just this that the management is waiting for to effect the payment of the arrears. Thank you.
Respected colleagues, recommendation 1, recommendation 2, respected colleagues, the second report to be considered is that of the Committee on Public Procurement on investigation into procurement deception, staff victimization, and ongoing management problem in the Project Development Institute, Enugu, under the Federal Ministry of Science and Technology. I now invite Honorable Nasir Ali Ahmed to give us a synopsis of his report.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. My name is Nasir Ali Ahmed. I represent Nasara Federal Constituency and I'm from Kano State. Mr. Chairman, the House of Representatives at its plenary sitting on Wednesday, 10 February 2021, debated a motion of urgent importance to investigate the procurement, deception, staff victimization, and ongoing management problems in Project Development Institute, PRODA, Enugu, under the Federal Ministry of Science and Technology. And in exercise of its powers, HR 0102-021, and in exercise of its powers under sections 88 and 89 of the 1999 Constitution as amended, mandated the Committee on Public Procurement to investigate the matter and report back to the House within 7 days for further legislative action. The terms of reference as contained in the votes and proceedings of Wednesday, 10 February 2021, and terms of reference of the committee are as follows. Urge the Project Development Institute, PRODA, Enugu, to stop all further procurement activities on the 2020 budget and pay contractors, suppliers, and consultants who have executed their contracts, and those contracts have been verified to have gone through all the due processes of the BPP. Mandate the Committee on Public Procurement to investigate these serious allegations by inviting the Minister of Science and Technology, Secretary to the Government of the Federation, the Director General BPP, and PRODA management to appear before it and report back to the House. Mr. Chairman, the methodology in furtherance of the resolution and in line with sections 88 and 89 of the 1999 Constitution as amended, as well as the Legislative Powers and Privileges Act, the committee, in preparation for the investigative hearing, deliberated and determined its modalities, which include the following. On the 11th of February 2021, the committee requested for memorandum on the subject matter of the investigations from concerned stakeholders and general public. Letters were written to critical stakeholders, including the Acting Director General and Management of Project Development Institute, PRODA, the suspended Director General of PRODA, the Chairman and Management Board of PRODA, the Honorable Minister of Science and Technology, the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, the Director General of the Bureau of the Public Procurement, the Bureau of Public Procurement, contractors, suppliers, and consultants that have executed contracts with Project Development Institute, PRODA, and others requesting for submission of memorandums. Advertisements were placed in the print media for the memorandum from stakeholders and the general public. An investigative hearing on the matter was conducted on Thursday, 18th to 24th and 25th February 2021 at the conference room 028, New Building, House of Representatives, National Assembly Complex, Abuja.
Very quickly, just give me 1 minute. Let me confide with the chairman, approach the chair, and rules and business. Leader, please come. Monguno, join us. Respected colleagues, recommendation 1. Ali Ahmed, take your seat. One, two. Carried. Sorry, I thought even the Commission 1, there was an input so that we are very clear. There should be that all the contracts that were awarded by the Acting Director General of the project remains nullified, money paid. Okay, carried. That the Acting Director, Director General Engineer Fabian should be suspended with immediate effect. Carried. That all staff of the Project Development Institute Enugu involved. Thank you. Amend the amendment, please.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Recommendation 3 I propose that recommendation 3 should be amended from all staff to all principal staff. I so move.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, honorable colleagues. My name is Honorable Jukis Lichima, member representing Ajemo Ogutoru, West Federal Constituency of Imo State. I second the amendment as proposed by Honorable Henry Awuma. Thank you.
Those in favor of the amendment say aye. Against any. Recommendation 3 as amended. No, recommendation 2 as amended, sorry. Recommendation 3 as amended. 4.
Amendments.
Amendment of 4?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. My name remains Honorable Jukins Lichima, member representing Ajemo Ogutoru, West Federal Constituency of Imo State. I recommend that Section 4, that all contractors who have completed and verified their jobs under the 2020 Appropriation Act prior to the assumption of office of Dr. Fabian Okonkwo should be paid by the Proda Enugu immediately, and all payments should be completed before 31st March 2021. So my amendment there is prior to the assumption of office of Dr. Fabian Okonkwo.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Seconder, Manu.
Right, Honorable Speaker, Honorable colleagues, my name is Honorable Mansur Manu Soro, representing Darazo Ganjua, Federal Constituency. I am from Bauchi State. I rise to second the motion ably put by my brother, Honorable Ujukinsi. I so second.
Those in favor of the amendment say aye. Against any. Those in favor of clauses 4 as amended. Carried. 5. Carried. 6. Recommendation 8. 8. On 10?
Yes.
Okay, sir.
Thank you very much again, Mr. Chairman, honorable colleagues. That section that says that the allegation of extortion of money from contractors by Comrade Daniel Oje. Instead of by, I am making an amendment to be against instead of by.
Yes,
Against Comrade Daniel Oje. Yeah.
Number 10.
Number 10.
Seconder. Henry.
Thank you, Right Honorable Chairman. I rise to second the amendment ably moved by Honorable Kingsley. I so second. Thank you.
In favor of the amendment, say aye. Against, say nay. Nation 10 as amended. Leader, move that the House will to plan to report progress.
Thank you, Right Honorable Chairman, honorable members. I rise to move that the House do move to plenary to report progress. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Chairman, honorable members, I so move.
Seconder, whip.
Mr. Chairman, I second that the House do resolve to rebut to Committee of the Whole to report progress. Sorry, rebut to plenary. The injunction I just took, yes.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Against, say nay. That's a to report progress. Respected colleagues, the House in the Committee of the Whole considered the report on the bill for an act to establish the Federal University of Agriculture and Technology, Funtua, and for related matters, and approved clauses 1 to 38, the schedules, long title, and the explanatory memoranda for adoption. Respected colleagues, the House in the Committee of the Whole considered the report on the bill for an act to establish the Federal College of Education, ILO, Kebbi State, and for related matters, and approved clauses 1 to 31, and the short and long titles, and the schedules, and the explanatory memoranda for adoption. Respected colleagues, the House in the Committee of the Whole considered a report on the Committee on the Committee on House Services on the need to investigate the irregularities in the payments of salaries and allowances of legislative aides of the 9th Assembly and for related matters, and approved recommendations 1 and 2 thereof and for adoption. Respected colleagues, the House in the Committee of the Whole considered a report on the Committee on Public Procurement on the need to investigate the procurement deception, staff victimization, and the ongoing management problem in the Project Development Agency (PRODA) Inugu under the Federal Ministry of Science and Technology, and approved recommendations 1 and 2, 3, 4 as amended, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 as amended, and 11 for adoption. Leader, move that the House to adopt the report of the Committee of the Whole.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Ado Dogwa is my name. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I come from Kano State, and I therefore rise to move that the House do adopt the report of the Committee of the Whole as presented. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I respectively move.
Chief Whip.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members, my name is Mohamed Tahir Munguno. I represent Martin Munguno, the Federal Constituency of Borno State. I second the motion moved by the leader for the adoption of the report of the Committee of the Whole.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Against, say nay. That's have it. Leader, move for the adjournment of the House. Adjournment of the House.
Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I
hope you didn't take the inoculation too. Have you taken?
No, I've not taken.
Okay.
But instead of adjourning the House, Mr. Speaker, I will rise to crave the indulgence of my members to please remain in the floor and work for 2 more hours, Mr. Speaker, if the House permits.
Carry.
Thank you, sir. Right Honorable Speaker, my very patient members who have been at work since morning, I thank you for the courage and commitment to serve Nigeria, and I therefore rise to move that this House do adjourn to Tuesday, the 23rd of this month by 11 o'clock. I so move.
Whip, second.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members, I second the motion for adjournment ably moved by the leader of the House.
Honorable Raji, approach the leader, please.
Except
Approach
that,
the leader. Quickly.
Sorry. In our reporting, we didn't report the bills that were stepped down for further legislative listening. We didn't report those ones. It's just for you to take note, so that we don't. Yes, so we will still have reported. That is the ideal procedure. He has moved for adjournment and will have adopted the report. But I just want you to take note of that. Thank you. 2 bills were stepped down. That of Kontagora and then this Nosdra. Thank you. Those in favor of the motion say aye. Against say nay. The ayes have it. House Tuesday next week, 11 a.m.